For a few years now, I've been making a living teaching people how to be more productive. And in that time, I've made quite a lot of videos here on YouTube about how I use my Mac to be productive, which apps I put on my Mac and how I use them, etc. But as far as I can remember, I have not done a video on how I use my iPhone to support my productivity. So I thought it was high time that we do that, and that's what we're going to do in this video. Now, for the record, I have a 256 gigabyte Sierra Blue iPhone 13 Pro, which is a beautiful device. And just looking at it right here, I want to get this out of the way. The wallpaper that I'm using, in case you're curious, is called Crescendo. It's by a fellow YouTuber called Canoopsy. What I want to do is show you around my phone which apps I have installed, what I don't have installed, and I want to tell you how I think of my iPhone as a device that supports my productivity, but isn't necessarily a place where I get a lot of my most important work done. Let's go to do that. First, I'll just show you around the different screens. I've got my home screen right here with a bunch of apps that I use quite often. Then on the second screen over, I've got a Big Things 3 widget, my to-do app widget. And on the next screen over, I've got my calendar, a Fantastical widget, really big, and some other apps. And then I've got one more page. This is not all the apps that I've installed on my phone, but the rest of them are hidden over here in the app library. So let's just go over most of the apps one by one. I have to show you around. At the top left, I have a widget from the Carrot app. It's a weather app that forecasts the weather. It's very funny. If you tap on it, it'll often be like quite snarky, and you can set its personality and stuff. It also just does a great job of forecasting the weather, which I really like. Then I've got the Camera app, App Store settings, all really basic stuff. I've got WhatsApp, which is a common way over here in Europe that people communicate with each other, which maybe is not as popular in the United States. But actually, the main messaging app that I like to use is the one all the way in my dock at the bottom, third from the left, which is Signal. If I open Signal, it looks like this. This is just a note to myself, and I can just start typing the same way in any other messages app. But this is not owned by Meta/Facebook, and it's very, very secure. That's why I love to use Signal. So then I've got my Apple Notes app over here, and if I just open that, I've got some folders, my notes folder, coaching folder, demo folder, etc. And I've also organized my notes by tags. So for example, if I want to see all my notes related to YouTube, I can just tap the YouTube tag, and those will pop up. And Apple Notes is my notes app of choice, and I use it on a daily basis, so it's nice to have it on the front screen, easily accessible to me, and well organized. Next up, I've got Overcast. Overcast is my favorite podcast listening app, so if I just tap on that, you'll sort of see all the podcast episodes that I've got queued up right now. Very easy to discover podcasts. If I'm looking for like Pod Save America, for example, I can just start typing that and it will show up, and I can add some of their episodes to my feed. So Overcast is just a great podcast app. No frills. Love it. I've got Bunk, which is my bank app, and it's an online-only bank, which if you're not yet banking with an online-only bank, I highly recommend it. Just imagine never having to go into a bank branch again. It's just lovely. I've got Google Maps, Apple Maps. I prefer the Apple Maps aesthetic, but Google Maps has better, reviews. It has it has biking directions here in Amsterdam, which Apple Maps doesn't. And, you imagine living in the Netherlands, like I tend to bike around a lot. So that's why I use both of them. Next up is 1Password, my password manager. So if I just open that with Face ID, 1Password is a place is an app that I use where I only remember one master password, and then it has an entry for every service that I use. So I can have a different password for every single app or service that I use. So if my account gets hacked in one place, that doesn't mean that the hackers have my password for everything else. So if you're not yet using a password manager, you absolutely should be using one, and 1Password is a really good one. Not only for Apple devices, by the way, it's also available on Windows if that's something that you care about. All right, next up, I've got Hey, my email app. Hey is a fantastic email app. I don't use Gmail anymore. I don't use the Apple Mail app. I just use email by Hey, which is a totally different way to think about email. It puts you much more in control. For example, if someone spams me and I don't want to hear from them, I just give them a thumbs down and I say, hey, I don't want to receive your email anymore. So I could go on this Google AdSense email, for example. If I'm like, hey, I don't want to receive this, I could actually tap here and say, screened out. I don't want to hear from them anymore. I'll probably have to undo that because I do actually want to hear about my Google AdSense things. But it's really nice because when you think about it, your inbox should be yours and other people shouldn't just be able to appear in there without your permission. All right, next up we've got day one, which is the journaling app, which I don't use that much on the go, to be honest. Maybe I should remove it from my home screen, but it's a lovely, lovely journaling app. I often use it on the Mac or on the iPad just to jot down some thoughts, and you can do that in many ways. You can, sort of dictate, you can type, whatever. Lovely. We've got the Photos app, it's obvious. Then we've got Strong. Strong is a really nice app for people who lift weights. So let's say I'm going to the gym tomorrow. I can build myself a workout and I can say, okay, tomorrow I want to do leg curls and leg extensions in the gym. And let's say I want to superset those. I want to do 4 sets. I want to do this many kilograms and this many reps tomorrow. And then as I'm going through my workout, I can just kind of start checking those off. And keep track of what I was doing last time and whether I hit any personal records in terms of weights lifted and stuff. It's really nice. It just works fantastically. It's fantastic if you go to the gym. Okay, next up we've got Classpass, which is a service that I use like a subscription service to book yoga classes at various studios. So let's say that I want to find a yoga class and I want to find one for tomorrow. I can just see, these are the ones available in Amsterdam, and I can say I want to find yoga classes sort of between, let's say, 11:30 and 3:30, and it's going to show me some. And I find this a really nice way to just check out different yoga studios to stay sort of flexible and fit. Next up, got the Reminders app. Now, if you've watched a bunch of the videos on my channel, you know I'm a big fan of Things 3. So you might ask yourself, Peter, why are you using the Reminders app? And I use it for 2 reasons. The first one is because I can share lists with people. So in this case, I've got a grocery list that I share with my girlfriend. And I also have just a random other list, which is a list of Aesop products to buy. Aesop is my favorite skincare product, and I have a bunch of things I need to buy from them soon. And I just keep track of that here. I could do it in my Things 3, but this is really something that's just reference material for me. It's not something actionable. It's like when I'm at the shop, I want to see this, but I don't really want to see a task that's like go to the shop, which I might not get to, today or tomorrow. So that's the Reminders app. I've got Spotify. I just use Spotify to listen to, music, and occasionally I'll listen to a podcast through Spotify, but usually I will do that through Overcast. The Economist, which I have put on my home screen because it is a really good source of news and analysis. So it's really tempting to put my home screen full of Twitter, in the past Facebook, although now I've deleted my Facebook account. But I told myself, listen, I want to put healthy quality information into my brain and make other things harder to access. So that's why I put like a legit news source like The Economist on the home screen of my phone. Next up, we've got Control Center, and this kind of brings me to what my phone is for. I don't think of my phone as a place where I do a lot of my so-called deep work or anything like that. I think of my phone as a communications device, WhatsApp, Signal, a device for accessing information, capturing information, so that's notes, for example, but also a device for managing stuff. So if I go into Control Center, it's actually the Elgato Control Center app. What I can do is I can control the lights that I've got shining on me right now. So for example, if I do this, now you'll see that it got darker here because there's a light over here, which I just turned off with this app on my phone. So I'll turn it back on. So this is a way in which my phone sort of supports my productivity, right? Really love the Elgato Control Center app. Then I've got Authy. Authy is a 2-factor authentication app. When you've got those 6-digit codes that you need to log into certain services, or that they'll sometimes give you the option of using when you log into certain services so that it's more secure. I've just got all of those set up in this Authy app right here. Okay, let's go over to the second screen. Now here's where I've got my big Things 3 widget, and this is basically my to-do list for today. It's a widget, but if I tap on it, it opens the whole app. And if I want to quickly add a task while I'm on the go, right? Let's say I'm on the home screen, all I have to do is swipe right and then hit this plus button right here, and I can start typing take out the trash, if that's what I want to do today. So I'll just say take out the trash. I want to do that today. That is a home project. Save. Boom. Now it's there. Now, I already happen to have taken out the trash this morning, so I'll just check that off. But it's really nice. The widget looks fantastic, and I like having it really big right here, easy to access, just one swipe away after I open my phone. Now, I've got some other apps on here that I use. For example, the Files app. I use iCloud Drive, so all my files sync between my phone, my iPad, my Mac, and the Files app just means that all my files are accessible to me on my phone. They're not necessarily all downloaded to my phone, but if I need to, I can download them, and I usually have access to good internet. I've got the Notion app, and so Notion I pretty much only use for my YouTube videos. So for example, if I go to this YouTube page right here, you can see that I've got like a dashboard with some ideas for videos that I could do, and you can see if I scroll over to the right that I'm currently filming this video. And I can tap on it, and it gives me some, I write down some ideas for the title or for the thumbnail I might want to use for the video. That's pretty much what I use Notion for. I don't really use Notion for anything else, but for this use case, it's quite helpful. Then I've got a rain radar, and I've got Omnifocus. Now, I used to use Omnifocus myself all the time. These days, I prefer Things 3, but I still teach a course on Omnifocus, and so I often help students with it. So I want to make sure I have the app installed on my phone in case I need to answer a question. The next one is actually the beta version of Omnifocus. So this, if I tap this one, it's actually the beta version of Omnifocus 4. If you hadn't seen that yet, this is your sneak peek, right? And it looks like this. Here's the forecast view. Here's the project view. I've got the tags view, and it kind of looks like this. And so I keep this on my phone to keep track of what's going on with Omnifocus 4 development, which is something that I need to do for work. Then I've got Nordvpn over here. Nordvpn is my favorite VPN app. I'm currently not connected to a VPN because I'm at home and I trust my own Wi-Fi network. But let's say I'm at a coffee place and I'm logging onto the Wi-Fi there. I don't know if that's really the coffee place's Wi-Fi or if it's just someone sitting there with like a Wi-Fi transponder that has the same name as the Wi-Fi for the coffee place, and maybe they're trying to snoop on all my data. So to prevent that, I use NordVPN automatically. This is very easy to connect to VPN. I can just tap Quick Connect, and it will go on a server, and I can say disconnect. And I can choose servers in different countries. I can say I want to be on like a Belgian server or a Canadian server or a US server or whatever. NordVPN is great. Highly recommend it. And I'll put the link to these apps in the description below the video, by the way. Then I've got the YouTube app, which I tend to spend quite a lot of time on now. I use my iPhone as an entertainment device, but also for me, now that I'm getting more serious about doing these YouTube videos, I spend quite a bit of time on YouTube, watching other people's videos and seeing how I can make mine better. Little example of that, I got this nice boom arm here with this microphone, but I don't actually like the way that this looks, and so tomorrow I'm expecting some deliveries that will have me using a shotgun mic that I'll sort of mount next to the camera, kind of next to where you're looking from. It'll come from the top, and hopefully in my next video, you will no longer see the microphone. So these are just some of the kinds of things where I'm watching other people's videos and I'm thinking, I need that. I've got the YouTube Studio app right next to it, still a short swipe away from the opening my phone. And the YouTube Studio app is really cool. It gives me a lot of analytics on my videos. So for example, the previous video I published is how to use universal control between Mac and iPad, and I can see out of my previous 10 videos, how did that do? And so if I tap that, you can actually see, it ranked 8th out of my last 10 videos, so I guess it wasn't as appealing to many of you as some of my other videos have been, and that's good for me to know because I want to put out videos that you all will appreciate. Over on the next screen, I've got my Fantastical widget. Where do I need to be at various points in the next few days? I think that's pretty obvious. Fantastical is a lovely calendar app. I really, really like it. You can view sort of your day, your week, your month, quarter, year. If I go to quarter, for example, like you can even fit the whole quarter. It's a really lovely app. Let's go back to day. It's great. It's just a bit better in many ways than Apple's built-in calendar app. In fact, if you're sort of curious, I did do a video on why I like Fantastical. I did that a long time ago. If you'd like an updated version of that, just let me know, and I'll consider doing that. So what I've got below my Fantastical widget is some entertainment apps. Twitter, Tweetbot, which is a different way to scroll Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and then a bunch of apps basically for watching Formula One and reading about Formula One and stuff. And I deliberately put those a couple of swipes away, so not on the home screen, but 2 swipes away, just to include a little bit more friction. Who am I kidding? I spend way too much time on these apps. Twitter itself, you know what Twitter is. Tweetbot is a Twitter client. I like to use it more because unlike the Twitter app itself, Tweetbot just shows me only tweets in a timeline in the order that they were published by accounts that I follow, which I really, really like. Because sometimes when you go on the Twitter app itself, there's ads, there's, tweets from people you don't care about, and I don't want to see those things. Okay. Final page. I've got some, really just like useful apps, right? Utility apps. Uber for ordering a car, Green Wheels for, reserving a car if I need to drive one myself. Picnic ordering groceries. Gorillas ordering groceries really fast, like in 10-15 minutes. Uber Eats Deliveroo for getting food delivered to my house, like dinner or whatever. Happy Cow is a cool app for my fellow vegans out there. Let's say I'm in a city and I want to eat at a vegan restaurant. I can just say, okay, show me all vegan restaurants in Amsterdam. And then it does that, which is really neat. And, there are reviews built in, so I can tap on one and it'll tell you how good it is and stuff. It's basically like Google Maps of restaurants, but only for like vegan or vegetarian restaurants. Fantastic app. It's called Happy Cow. Love it. Got some translation apps. Then V for Wiki is a really cool app. The mobile interface of Wikipedia is pretty bad, and so this is just a way to browse Wikipedia with a much nicer interface. So here I've got the most popular articles on Wikipedia right now, on the English Wikipedia, and apparently the one at the top is on the 2020 Russian invasion of Ukraine, aka the war in Ukraine, and this is the article about it, and look at this. This is just a much more pleasant way to browse Wikipedia than the desktop app, and at the bottom you can like jump to the different sections and stuff. I just really, really love it. So much better. V for Wiki. The typography is really great too. A couple more apps to highlight. Headspace is a meditation app I really like, but lately I've been using Waking Up more. Waking Up is by Sam Harris, a neuroscientist, meditation teacher, a bunch of other things. It's a really lovely meditation app. It has like a daily guided meditation that's either 10 or 20 minutes. It has a bunch of talks related to meditation by various people, by Sam, but also by many other, people who are in the field of meditation. Lately, they added a lot of talks by Alan Watts, which I absolutely love. And it just has a lot of guided meditations, as well as a meditation timer. It's a fantastic meditation app. If you're sort of wanting to be more present, less stressed, or you just want to develop your meditation practice, hey, check out Waking Up by Sam Harris. The last app I want to show you is Flighty. Flighty is a lovely app for if you go and fly, so I'll always subscribe to this app when I'm about to fly. So let's say today I am flying to New York. No, I'm flying from New York to Amsterdam, apparently. I can say, all right, this is the flight that I am on today, and you can see so much information about it. Which terminal is it departing from? Which terminal is it going to be arriving at? Is it on time? You can paste in your booking code and your seat number for easy access. I can, if I subscribe to the Pro Edition, which I will do when I fly, there's an arrival forecast. How often is this plane late and by how much? Where is the inbound plane? And what kind of plane are we going to be using? So for people who are really into flying and stuff, this is a fantastic app for that. Okay. Couple more things I want to show you. First of all, I want to show you the different focus modes that I use. And this syncs between, again, my iPhone and my Mac and my iPad. I see that the screen here turned off. Let's turn that back on. If I go to settings and I scroll down and I go to focus modes, I use a bunch of focus modes to make sure that I don't get as distracted while I'm working. And so one of them, for example, is the work focus mode, which I'll turn on when I'm doing work, but not when I'm recording. When recording, I'll use Do Not Disturb. I'll tell you in a second. And so I customize which notifications I want to see while I'm working. For example, my password manager is allowed to send me notifications. My to-do app, Things 3, is allowed to send me notifications, right? Because sometimes those are time sensitive. Or my email app is allowed to notify me, though I don't think I have those enabled anyway. But I don't want to hear from people. Like, I don't want to see random messages from people while I'm working, because that will just distract me. Except people in my favorites list are able to call me, and anyone who calls me, at least twice within 3 minutes can also reach me, because those are typically sort of emergency situations. Okay, I've got a bunch of other focus modes. One other one that I want to highlight is the gaming one. So I like to game on my iPad, and when I do that, I've got it set up so while I'm using League of Legends Wild Rift, which is the game that I've been playing a lot recently, automatically this focus mode will turn on, the gaming focus mode. It will turn off all notifications except the one for this app itself, the game itself, and nobody can reach me, not even my favorites, except if they call 2 or more times within 3 minutes, then they'll go through, because then it's probably an emergency. It's really nice that this turns on automatically so I don't get bothered. And yeah, I've got like the driving mode will turn on automatically when I drive. In terms of widgets, if I swipe from my home screen to the left, I really only use one, which is the battery widget. So if I've got my AirPods, I just open the AirPods, I can see that right now my AirPods case and the AirPods themselves are fully charged, and my phone is 84% battery life. That's it. Also, my Jabra Elite 85H, I think, is the headphones that I have. If I hook those up, I'll also see the battery status for those on this screen right here. But I don't use any other widgets. which I just don't find that useful. And that leads me into a point that I wanted to share with you, which is some things that are not on my iPhone. I'm not a big user of shortcuts, so a lot of productivity people are really into using shortcuts. If something happens, do that. And I like focus modes, but beyond that, I quickly find that the return on investment of your time and energy of using shortcuts is just really low. So I don't really have too many automations set up because I don't find that it actually helps me get stuff done. When I think of my productivity, I like to think of what I call big picture productivity. What is my most important work, my deep work, if you will, and how am I going to get that done? And I don't think as my phone of a place that I do that, because what is my deep work? It's making these YouTube videos. It's making videos for my courses. It is writing my weekly newsletter. All of that happens outside the iPhone. So the iPhone for me is a place that supports work, to manage stuff like managing the lights, ordering food, and all those kinds of things. But I don't think of it really as a productivity tool itself, more as a management tool and an entertainment tool. But hopefully not too much entertainment, because then I get distracted too much. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you're still here, you will probably also like my video on my favorite Mac apps and accessories. And you might also like my video on going a little bit in depth on how and why I like to use Apple Notes. So hit like on your way out if you did like this video. Thanks again for being here. Have a great day. Ciao.